Hello and thanks for joining us for THB 11. I'm Jurnee Taylor. It's time for our top news at noon. A 19-year-old is now in custody for the murder of 27-year-old Brock Welch. What we know right now in less than 2 minutes.
Eating during the Super Bowl is a sport in and of itself. I'm Cristian Benavides with a look at the foods that are more expensive this year and the fan favorites that are actually cheaper.
An 8-time Grammy winner, Burt Bacharach, passed away yesterday. A look back at his amazing life just ahead. We definitely have a lot to chat about today, but first we want to take a look at weather. Friday is finally here, but with it, cooler temperatures and now rain. Good afternoon, Nathan. Let us in on all of it.
Good afternoon, Jurnee. Yeah, we have clouds that have taken over the skies and rain is continuing to march its way in here from the west. And look at the temperature difference because there's still sun for you folks down in southeast Arkansas. It's 57 in Monticello, but 45 here in the capital city, 42 in Russellville, and only 38 in Mena. These clouds are producing an area of rain. The rain today primarily will stay from Little Rock and off to the west and southwest. So southeast Arkansas, you will stay dry. But as we take a look at the higher resolution radar, you see that rain continue to make its way into a large part of central Arkansas. But look closely. You got to have eagle eyes, but notice the blue showing up there pretty close to Woolham into northern parts of Van Buren County and northern parts of Pope County. There could be a little bit of snow on those higher elevations, but that precipitation shield is not going to move into Searcy County or Newton County. So therefore, the snowfall forecast for those areas has changed. But it's going to be a wet day here in central Arkansas. Keep that rain gear close by throughout the day, and temperatures only topping out into the mid to upper 40s. I do have some better weather to talk about going into the weekend. I'll have more on that forecast coming up.
Thanks, Nathan. Well, now Brock Welch is now in custody. 19-year-old Emil McCoy was arrested yesterday afternoon in Jacksonville by U.S. Marshals. He's charged with capital murder and is being held without bond. His first court appearance is tomorrow. Now, Brock Welch was first reported missing at the end of last year after he left for dinner and never came home. It wasn't until weeks later when he was found dead with multiple gunshots. More than 3,000 pounds of deadly drugs are off Arkansas's streets. Authorities seized all of that in Operation Task Force Arkansas, which just ended last month. State Drug Director Boyce Hamlet says their efforts led to more than $55 million worth of drugs confiscated.
At the end of the day, we got enough fentanyl off the streets to kill 500,000 people, 500,000 people. We had over 1,000 repeat offenders arrested. So just as a former chief and a former drug task force agent myself, really proud with these results. Really happy with them.
Hamlet says they plan at least 2 more raids of this type before the end of this year. Arkansas Attorney General Tim Griffin is suing the ATF. It's in response to a policy we've been reporting on since last year. He's fighting to block the federal agency's new rule restricting stabilizing braces. Griffin released a statement saying, quote, "For more than a decade, these braces have been sold as firearm attachments not subject to regulation. Stabilizing braces were designed to help people with disabilities use pistols and have become increasingly popular with senior citizens." Now, however, the ATF's new rule considers it a part used to assemble a gun, specifically a rifle. If you start with a pistol and attach the brace, you end up making a rifle, according to the new policy. Griffin says that's wrong, and he wants the judge to throw it out. Our new Education Secretary, Jacob Oliva, offered up more yesterday on the sprawling Arkansas Learns plan announced by Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Lawmakers are still getting the language down on paper for a bill that offers huge teacher pay raises and eventually universal school choice. Expected in the fine print of the pay raise will be incentive pay and loan forgiveness for certain teachers. But many parents are eager to hear how the plan will work that will allow state money to follow students to private or religious-based schools. Oliva explained how the money will get directed.
These aren't dollars that are going directly to families. These are dollars that are going to what's referred to as an education freedom account. These accounts will have dollars that are allocated that would have gone to to follow that student to make sure they have their needs. These dollars would be put in an account for education-related expense with direct payments going to those choice providers.
Now, he also touched on other facets of the bill. We're putting the entire interview online right now at thv11.com and our YouTube page. This afternoon, we're getting new reaction to the governor's newly announced education reform plan. The largest teachers union in the state, the Arkansas Education Association, is providing their stance on a certain aspect of the LEARN's plan. AEA President Carol B. Fleming says the governor's education plan increases teachers' salaries in exchange for implementing a, quote, unpopular and destructive voucher program. The association is happy to see low teacher pay addressed, but says these vouchers will harm students. Here's more of their response to the voucher program. It reads, in part, vouchers take scarce funding away from public schools and give it to private schools that are unaccountable to the public. Arkansas needs to focus on investing in our public schools where 90% of our children go. The statement goes on to read, vouchers will harm rural communities where public schools are popular and remain the only option for most students, end quote. U.S. officials now say the Chinese spy balloon shot down off the coast of South Carolina nearly a week ago apparently was trying to monitor nuclear command and control communications. The Navy has now recovered some of the balloon's scaffolding and electronics, but crucial surveillance equipment remains on the sea floor. Nancy Cordes reports from the White House.
FBI agents are now examining parts of the Chinese balloon that have already been fished out of the ocean.
Oh, look, they hit it.
The deflated balloon descended rapidly Saturday from an altitude twice as high as commercial jet corridors. But the so-called payload, the crucial surveillance equipment, remains on the seafloor off the South Carolina coast.
The yeas are 419, the nays are 0.
The House voted unanimously Thursday to condemn what it called China's brazen violation of United States sovereignty.
I am so angry.
Lawmakers from both sides expressed alarm at a Senate hearing about the incident.
I don't want a damn balloon going across the United States when we potentially could have taken it down.
John Tester is the Democratic senator from Montana. This is the test of one of those missiles. The Chinese were apparently trying to listen in on the communications used for the command and control of nuclear weapons.
You guys have to help me understand why this baby wasn't taken out long before.
We think before we shoot.
Pentagon officials said they considered shooting it down over a remote part of Alaska, but were concerned, even then, about casualties.
At that time, we didn't understand through the modeling, if we shot that, what it would do on the ground.
The State Department revealed Thursday that similar Chinese spy balloons have flown over 40 countries on 5 continents. Officials say the Chinese military uses a fleet of high-altitude balloons as a cheap alternative to satellites.
This irresponsible act put on full display what we've long recognized, that the PRC has become more repressive at home and more aggressive abroad.
Investigators are looking into whether this Chinese balloon was actually using American-made technology. The White House is now working on an executive order that would impose stricter export controls to ensure that U.S. technology does not get into the hands of the Chinese military. Nancy Cordes, CBS News, the White House.
Now, rough seas are slowing down the recovery efforts, so the Navy is taking steps to weigh the rest of the debris to prevent it from drifting until it can be reached. Duck season has come to an end in Arkansas after several tough seasons. Many duck hunters are concerned about the future of the cherished sport.
I don't think duck numbers are what they used to be. Just by observation alone, just by seeing them with my eyes and seeing them in places they used to be and where they're not there anymore.
Tonight at 10, our Scott Kovrick goes into the duck blind to learn about challenges to Arkansas's favorite pastime and what's being done to preserve the tradition for future generations. Now, some of your favorite Super Bowl foods could be cheaper than you expect this year. We'll walk you through what you might find at Super Bowl shopping in just 2 minutes. And also coming up, we'll walk you through this Friday and what's to come in this weekend, Nathan.
Well, we've got some wet weather out there, Jurnee, for this afternoon across parts of the state. We dry things out for the weekend, but more showers and storms expected next week. I'll have more of those details coming up.